as much as we want to be that like kind of stubborn, like stuck in our ways, no, I'm a car guy, I want that sound, like times are going to change. We got to be open-minded. We got to be ready for it.
Welcome, everybody, to Adams Polish's Shop Talk podcast. Today, we have Anthony. He runs our store at the Anaheim location for Adams Polishes. I'm just thankful that you could spend some time with us and we could do this podcast together. And I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I know you've been sort of in the automotive industry since, I don't know what, since before you were born?
Yeah, dad racing around in the car. I was in mom's belly. Yeah. No, cars have always kind of like been in the family. Grandpa had a 68 GTO, bought brand new. He kept it through decades and decades of time. Dad built Beetles. Uncle had Z's. It's just kind of always been in our family. So I've kind of grown up around cars, wrenching and detailing, all of the above.
That's cool. And I mean, not only you work at Adams Polishes Anaheim, but you have like a little side gig just to, tell me about that. Royal Speed Shop, is that right?
Yeah. So that was before I got hired at Adam. I was doing basically car modding down here in California, kind of specializing in tuner cars for the most part, but kind of put my hands on everything. Changing wheels, suspension, brakes, engine parts, all that sort of stuff. You want to make it faster, look better, whatever it be. That was kind of my hustle before that. And then I got brought on to the Adams team to open this store. And I still do it here and there, but definitely focus a lot more on Adams now, which is awesome. Very, very grateful to be part of this team.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously you post to the Anaheim Adams Polishes Anaheim page, but I follow your personal account on Instagram as well. So it's always cool to see all the car stuff you're doing. You're a total car guy, and I mean, let's be honest, what better place to be a car guy than, Orange County,
Southern California. Yeah, man. Yeah. We have a huge car culture out here. I would maybe even call it the biggest car culture out here. And I think part of that is also because we have such awesome weather. We don't have to put our cars away in the winter. We still have meets, we still have gatherings and shows and all that sort of stuff. Overall, it's a big community and it's a huge variety. I mean, if you go to one of our cars and coffees for Adams, I mean, you'll get muscle cars, JDM cars, Euro cars, supercars, all of the above.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing and a curse because at any given moment I have 3 other events that I have to compete with to try to draw as big of a crowd as possible. But I mean, even on the weekdays, you can just hop onto any Facebook event page and find a handful of events to go to. It's awesome, and for the most part, everyone it's a very close knit community. A lot of people know each other. You can drive down the street and be like, oh yeah, that's so and so from wherever, this club or that club, and it's cool. Go to Starbucks, park next to the guy in a Corvette or something. You're like, oh yeah, I know this guy. So it's cool. It's definitely it's an experience, and when people are in town and they're car people, I always try to show them around, and it blows their mind every time.
Yeah, that's the few times I've been out there hanging out, it's always like, I mean, eye-opening, awesome. To see the different cars and all the stuff that's going on. Because in Colorado here, I mean, it's like hidden, there is stuff here. There is really cool stuff, but it's like, you rarely see it, it's like on rare occasion, it's got to be 85 degrees, I mean, here's the thing, Colorado, well, you guys are kind of experiencing this year and right now, but Colorado, it's, 80 in the morning through the afternoon, and then you get this rainstorm. It's like a little thunderstorm. It lasts 15 minutes, but dude, nobody brings their cars out because of that. So
yeah,
it's always fun. I mean, the Cars and Coffee out here has definitely grown from when we started, and get a lot of cool cars and get a lot of cars. I mean, I think we've had even 600 to 700 cars at a time out there. So it's cool, but yeah, definitely coming into California and Southern California, you're like, oh my gosh, dude, just
I
like
know.
drive down the, what do you call it? 405. And you're like, oh, there's a Ferrari, there's a Porsche, there's a McLaren. It's like
Oh yeah.
in abundance.
Everywhere you go, man. And you know what's even big now, which is right on topic with what we're talking about today. You can't go into any parking lot without seeing just Teslas everywhere. You'll go down there, just every other spot is a Tesla,
Yeah.
and that's going to be insane. So I'm excited to see what the future holds. It's going to revolutionize everything. And it's have you had an opportunity to drive these new EVs?
Yeah. I mean, I've had the opportunity to drive a few, nothing crazy. Like I haven't been in the Plaid, I haven't been able to experience that, but let's be honest, a base Model 3 is pretty crazy already. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's so interesting. It's such a different driving experience, and like you said, it's kind of the topic we're talking about today is sort of the progression of the automotive industry. Um, you know, talking about kind of getting into the topic of like you're saying EVs, like really what I wanted to ask you about since you have been kind of part of car culture since you were born and or even before, like you said, what is what are you seeing? Like what is it like for you, to go from like, wrenching on cars, being able to do it on the weekend, all this stuff, to now seeing like Teslas and also, with not necessarily specific to Tesla, because there's a lot of EV brands that are coming out, like, you know, the introduction of automated driving and things like that, like just as a whole, like where have you seen it, how it started and like where it's progressed to now?
Totally. Yeah, so it's definitely become a lot more complex. We used to be able to just go into the toolbox and pick out any basic, wrench, socket, ratchet, air tools, whatever. Simple. Everything is so electronic now. I know that some of these cars, like you have to have a scan tool to tap in to be able to unlock features so that you can change brake pads or access certain things. It's not as easy anymore, that's for sure. Project times have grown. The amount of tools to invest in have changed. And having the specialty tools, the access to computer and OBD2 scanners, things like that, so that you can jump in, tell for the biggest one that I always see all the time is the parking brakes. Everything is on a switch now. You don't
Yeah.
pull a parking brake anymore. You just push a button and it engages the parking brake for you.
Yeah. Definitely
Well,
harder to drift,
you just got to be, like you're playing video games, R2, R2. So it's now become a thing where you're having to check to make sure you've got not only your tools, but the specialty equipment ready to handle this job at hand.
Mhm.
I've gotten stuck many times, like doing something like, oh no, I don't have access to do this or that, and I can't finish what I'm doing until I go get that part or tool to finish it.
Crazy.
Yeah, so you go, oh, plug in, tell the parking brake to release so that we can take the rear brake pads out or whatever. It's totally different now, and it's
Yeah.
even modding cars now. Back in high school, we used to just throw on an intake and an exhaust and all that stuff and just go rip it. That was it. Now it's like, don't drive it hard unless you go get it tuned. Like you got to make sure you tune it or else you're going to blow up the engine and this and that. And yeah, it's definitely come a long way as far as the electronics go. We're kind of, we're a prisoner to it now.
Modern day car owners take their cars, in to have them serviced. They're not really like doing it themselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest. Okay, I'm not a car person, but you don't have to get your oil changed on a Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Like who's doing that? I mean, you like when you get it serviced, it's so different. It's a different experience.
I think a lot of that comes to the specialty tools. Not a lot of people want to invest in having these OBD2 scanners or anything like special tool that they're expensive. They're not cheap. And the guys that are really into it, that are diehards, like they'll invest in it because they don't trust other people touching their car. They want it done right. And if you want something done right, you do it yourself in their mind. And so it's really become a sense of, if you need your car fixed, you have to go to this either the dealer or a specialty shop, because they have all those tools to access the ECU and all that, so that they can unlock the parking. I'm going to keep using that example over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely changed. No longer is there a lot of guys wrenching on their cars.
Yeah. But I think that's also like appealing to people, that like they don't have to do it, you know? Because I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like Tesla, I don't know if it's really engaged with like real car people. Probably people that like the speed aspect to it, but like I don't know about you, but like if you bought a Tesla, it'd be more for convenience than it would be to experience the car, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to stop at the gas station anymore. You get home, you just plug it in. Now you got mileage. You've got hundreds of miles you can go. My wife really wants one exactly for that reason.
Yeah.
She hates going to the gas station. She'll take advantage. Anytime I'm in the car, she'll take advantage of it and be like, oh, we're stopping to get gas. Just because you're here, you can do it for me.
Yeah.
So that's like one of her next goals, is to try to get a Tesla so that we don't have to worry about that anymore. We just pull it in the garage, plug it in, and you're good to go.
Yeah. That's
the other aspect too is, you know, as like you were saying, it takes, the car guy loves everything about what the car gives them. It's the sounds, it's the feeling, it's all of that. And I just was fortunate enough to take a buddy's GT4 for a spin. And oh my God, man, it was unreal. I told him, I was like, every car I have is for sale. I want this. And so, you know, he's like, dude, just come around. Let's go on the freeway. And let's get on and open it up a little bit. And dude, once we hit that 4K, it just started to sing. And it was beautiful, you know, and that's what we like with our cars. That's why a lot of guys that are into it, that are in this industry, are like, no, I need this. I need my internal combustion engine, because I want to hear it. I want to hear that V8 sound or the turbo sound or whatever it be. And if you go EV, you start to disconnect from that. As much as I love my gas-powered cars and how loud and beautiful they sound, I'm hooked on those EVs. I'm into it. I think it's going to be super cool to see what develops in time. Right now, all of our options are kind of a little bit more on the economy side. But once we start to see some really cool sporty style EVs, I think it's going to change the game up quite a bit. There's tons of guys that have been modding Tesla 3s. They're, you know, obviously you can't really tune them. You can't change the exhausts and all that stuff to make more power. But what they're doing is a lot of aerodynamics, braking, suspension, things like that, because that's really all you can do. They're already fast. They're already quick.
Yeah.
And now what you need to do is just bring the rest of the car up with it so that it's very well balanced. There's, I mean, even as far as the racing goes, we've got Formula E now. It's a full electric, you know, Formula car. And that's going to change everything too.
Well, was it Audi here at Pikes Peak, like broke the Pikes Peak hill climb record, and it was an electric vehicle?
Yeah.
Is that Audi?
I'm pretty sure it's Audi that has that. And Audi, Volkswagen, something in the Porsche, maybe in that group, but and it's so amazing to hear it.
If I had to say what a UFO sounded like passing me, that's what it would sound like.
That's what it's like. Yeah. You just hear the wind coming off the wing and the wheel, the tires squealing around the corners.
Well, first off, rest in peace, Ken Block. But the last Gymkhana, he did it in a EV electric vehicle Audi. Same thing, like the way it sounded. But dude, did you see the torque and the speed on that? Like the way he broke that thing? Oh my gosh. When he came around, was that like the Las Vegas sign? When he did like the one, he slid so far. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's nuts. I was watching some of their behind the scenes, and they went through like twice the amount of tires or something like that, just because of how much torque that thing has. It's unreal. So that's a perfect example of what we can start to see as we progress. Some of our sponsors here in Anaheim actually have some really tricked out Teslas. It's cool. It's really neat to see, because as much as we want to be that like kind of stubborn, like stuck in our ways, no, I'm a car guy, I want that sound, like times are going to change. We got to be open-minded. We got to be ready for it. And, keep our nice, gas powered cars. They're going to go up in value eventually.
Yeah.
And maybe, obviously the cool ones are, you may not get, $100,000 for your Toyota Corolla, but,
Yeah.
but I'm sure someone
Yeah.
will want something like the standard sports car is going to be
Yeah.
highly sought after eventually.
It's so crazy for me to think like I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you like a timeline, but in, let's call it 20 years, just as like just a guesstimate. But like, I don't know, 16-year-olds might not even need to get a driver's license, because everything's going to be automated, and
Yeah.
I know you and I've like briefly talked about it, but, I read this article, it was quite a few years back, and it was sort of a opinion type of article on New York Times. And this guy was talking about like what's going to happen when mass transit, so like FedEx, UPS, the semi trucks and stuff, like when they go to automated driving, electric automated driving, once they go, then it's probably going to be the like bus system, like public transportation is then going to go automated driving, right? And then once that goes and crashes start happening, they're going to say human error. We got to eliminate human error. That's a variable that we can't control, right?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like done, right? Driving's outlawed, right? And I think I foresee that happening like in major metropolitan areas. So, let's call it 25-mile radius. Like when you get to a certain point, you got to stop, park your car that's not automated, and then you get to where you're going. But
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like once automated driving hits the masses, like what's going to happen?
Well, we're it's gonna change everything. So we're gonna have guys now that it's gonna make the normal average guy's life so much easier. No longer are you gonna have to like battle traffic.
Yeah.
If it's all automated, the system should have the flow down. It's so easy.
Yeah.
So for the everyday normal person, it's gonna make life simple, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's going to take away from the guys who enjoy the driving aspect. That means, yeah, we're going to have to leave the city and take our regular car out or something like that.
Yeah.
It takes some of the fun away. I love driving my car. I just got a new WRX, and that was part of the fun. Like I was going to get something basic, but I just couldn't do a basic car. If I'm going to be driving, I commute 25 miles or so to work every day. So I spend at least 30 minutes in my car. Like I want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And if I got that taken away from me, man, like as a car guy, it would hurt.
Yeah.
So, it's, but on the nights where, I just want to take the wife out, it's cool because you don't have to worry about anything. We can hang out. Maybe at some point we're going to have entertainment in our cars. You can just watch movies and all that stuff just on your way to work.
Yeah.
And imagine life in that sense. It's going to be easy for the everyday person. It's going to be less enjoyable for the guy who enjoys it.
I think it's too like a control thing. Like you can't be like, oh, there's traffic, I was late to work.
Yeah.
They're like, hey guy, there is no traffic. Like we know that because we can see the system. And it's definitely like an interesting thing to think about. I mean, the thing that kind of scares me about that is like, what does that do to car care? Like people who drive their cars, literally connected to it through the steering wheel and your feet with the gas pedal and everything. And if you have a manual, even better, because that's like the most fun to drive. But like you are literally connected to your vehicle. You have to stay focused with that. And I think a lot of that, like people take pride in their vehicles because of that exact reason. Like I know you definitely take pride in your vehicles because you love it so much, but what does automated driving where it's just, it's sort of, it's kind of an appliance at that point,
It is,
getting in and going somewhere. Like, what do you see happening to the car care detail. I mean, DIY car care, in my opinion, is like gone instantly, like once everyone stops driving their car. But I don't know. Where do you see that? What do you see going on with that?
I think it'd be really smart if someone started like automated. Well, we have automated car washes, but in a sense, like a place that is programmed. And yeah, oh, I'm at work. I don't have time to do this. Hey, let me just, boop, 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 send my car to the car wash.
Yeah.
At some point, that's what no one's got to touch it anymore. It's going to be, and then at that car wash, as that technology, right now, we've got some touchless car washes and all that stuff, but everyone still prefers a good hand wash. Especially a proper 2-bucket hand wash, which we preach about. But that system, that automated system, is probably going to be incorporated into that car wash. We're going to have robots washing our cars. Like look at those painting arms and all the assembly lines. That's going to be with a mitt on it, and he's dunking into a bucket. That's going to be what it's going to come to. Yeah. Eventually, everything is going to be robotic, and it'll probably be more effective. Think about every little arm that can go into nooks and crannies, clean all the fender wells, undercarriages, all that sort of stuff. They'll probably be far more effective. And it takes all the time away from us. I don't know about you, dude, but I'm running out of time every day. I wish I could spend 3 hours washing my car like I used to.
Yeah.
Especially with your little ones, I'm sure that's hard to find.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, for sure. I've tried to make it a part of part of our family, but like you're saying, time is like, I've come to realize the most valuable currency. I mean, it's a thing you can never get back, So yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, I'd rather spend time playing catch with my son or playing Barbies with my daughter than be outside with them washing the car, It is, but yeah, dude, I mean, imagine that you're at work and I mean, you don't even know where your car goes. It doesn't even matter, right? You don't have to think about it because your car can drive itself. It could go pick up food for you. There's all kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
It's so, man, I don't know. Listen,
you can send it to go pick up your kids from school.
Yeah. My God, dude, look, I'll be honest. I hope I never see that. I want to wash my car. I want to do stuff to it. I think I'm so old school in the fact that I just don't know if I trust it. It seems so sketchy to me, and
I'm with you.
Yeah. And maybe that's because the system's not perfect yet, but dude, I don't know. It seems so
how
weird.
long do you think it's going to be until we start to see that though? I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime. A perfect automated system.
I don't know, man. I think I honestly think it's kind of like when they launched the iPhone, like they launched it and it was quick. It was quick when everyone started doing it. And I think for me, I don't know, that's such a tough question because I mean, here's the thing, like there's certain states, right? Like in the US that are like by 2030, everything has to be electric. Isn't that right? Like, isn't California is one of those states,
we're one
right?
of them.
So, I mean, once everything goes electric, then what? I mean, it's like such an easy transition. It's just software at that point.
Yeah, I believe if I remember correctly, it's only new car sales that are going to have to be mandatory electric, but we'll still be able to drive our gasoline powered cars. Yeah. So
do you think we'll see it in our lifetime?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think that it's still, I mean, we'll start to see, we've started to see some autonomous driving, but there's been recalls nonstop for all of that. So it's not perfect yet. So a perfect autonomous driving system, I don't think we'll see it. Or maybe our kids or grandkids, like it'll really start to come into it as they're fading off and all that stuff. But I think it still needs some perfecting for sure.
Man, dude, I can't. It's crazy to think, like, obviously, like in movies, they kind of, I don't know, try to predict the future a little bit. I think, like, obviously the most famous, like, kind of future type of movie is Back to the Future. Is one of my favorite movies, by the way. But, dude, I think, like, iRobot probably
iRobot.
depicts it like the closest in my mind, anyways. Like of how I'll never forget. It's like that one scene where um, Will Smith is like he converts it to manual driving, and he like I mean it's insane. They're going so
Yeah.
fast, you know.
Yeah. And they're in the
Right?
tunnel or something like that, right?
Yeah,
And all the
yeah,
cars are like cycling. Yeah.
yep. And then he has that like battle with the robots, and then he gets out, and the one lady's like, "We saw you switch your car to manual." You know, like everything's gonna be tracked. You know, like it's so crazy. You know, and it will be illegal to drive. Like it would just be like complete. Like if you get caught driving manual, which probably a lot of people will in the beginning, right? Like
I'll
you'll
be one of those guys.
yeah, exactly.
Try to catch me now. I don't want to take this turn at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah. Dude, I still don't believe Siri, dude, on Google Maps. I'm like, dude, you don't know where you're going. I'm going my own way.
Siri, you've never been here before.
And I sit in traffic for like an extra hour. I'm like, oh man.
Siri's always right, dude.
Yeah. Car culture is going to shift as well. You know, like I'd be curious, like they're not going to have automated car meetups, you know, like it's going to be, it'll probably even be more underground than we know as it moves forward. I don't know. You know, we're going to talk about some of the car care stuff, but like car culture, car meets, it's huge right now. I mean, it's like, especially I think with the internet has like made it even more popular because like a lot of people post about it. But I mean, car meets where you are, there's nothing that compares. Like, tell me about that. And also like, tell me about how you see that shifting with, again, like EVs and like automated driving shifting the culture a little bit.
Well, this is what always happens at our non-sanctioned events. Someone will post, hey, you know, big car meet at the In-N-Out over here, blah, 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 blah. Everyone rolls up. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now the police show up and everyone leaves. So what's going to happen now is like, okay, you got to get back in your car. Location number 2, boom, I just dropped it in everyone's car. Everyone just gets in and all the cars go to the next location. And it's just, they're just going to keep popping around. It could keep everyone on their toes. You know, no one's ever going to get rolled by the cops because, you know, oh, we'll hang out here for a little bit. All right, guys, everyone hop in. We're going to location number 3. And it's just it's going to simplify things. But at the same time, I think it's still going to take away from what the car guys love most about it. Yeah. You know, we want to do it. I want to do it. I don't want a robot to do it for me. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, there is going to be a disconnect, but I'm not going to be around for it. It's going to be my grandson's time. Yeah. And or granddaughter, whoever's driving at that time, it's now in their hands. And it's going to be like, I'm with you. I grew up I remember not having a phone. I remember having to log into AOL with the freaking, hey, you can't get on the phone while I'm on the internet, you know? Yeah. You know, so that's us, you know, but go to any school these days and every kid's got an iPhone in their hands. You know, it's a blessing and a curse, really. Yeah. You know, it gives you the opportunity to really, you know, have the convenience of, oh, mom, like, I need you to come pick me up, this and that. Like, I used to have to just walk home. I didn't have a phone to call mom. I just have to, oh, shoot, I got out of school early. I forgot it was a half day. I got to go just walk home. Yeah. It's, you know, it's going to change quite a bit. But I think for us, it would be a bummer. But for the future and the next generations, it's just going to already be their norm. And they're not going to know any better. No one's going to know that, oh yeah, I used to be able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, however fast I want. You know, not that I'm endorsing anyone to go race right now or speed or break any laws. Please drive safe on the roads. If you want to do it, go to a track. But it's going to be normal for them. It's a shock for us.
Well, I think like when I think about it, like the car culture piece of it, or like the experience of driving in general, I see it more as like an amusement park kind of thing. Like, you know, I mean, probably the OG to that is like Disneyland, which I know you frequent a lot with your wife, and let's be honest, the happiest place on earth. But they have is it called like the Autopia ride or whatever, where like kids can drive the cars and it's like bumping around.
Yeah.
it's like I see it almost like that. Maybe not like where it's on a track, but like you go out to maybe they convert these. Like there's a place in Colorado called High Plains Raceway. It's probably an hour outside the city, and you go there and they'll have a track where you can drive fast and hard, or they'll have like another area where you could like make a left turn at a stop sign, like
Yeah.
it's just the experience of driving. And it will be like, wow, man, like my dad used to do this back in the day, like, uh, I think it will be turned into something like that. I mean, that's going to be way down the road, but like I was saying, like initially it's like, once you get a certain distance outside of the city, there's people are still going to drive out there. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? You think everything would turn?
Think it would be hard to implement all of that into these tiny little back roads.
Yeah.
I see it mostly metropolitan, also just to free up traffic, make it easy for people to get around.
Yeah.
It can almost essentially be a private public transit. This is your own version of public transit.
Yeah.
And, I got to, make sure I get on the road at this time to get to work at this time. And, there's no more traffic. It's supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
But it's your own personal one.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky. And then on the flip side of that coin is, is it better for the environment or is it worse? There's so many opinions on this.
I'm actually curious on your opinion specifically, because you grew up in Southern California. So like, smog city, some people would call it, but like, do you legitimately think it's better for the environment?
Pollution wise, yes.
Yeah.
I noticed even when we were in COVID and everyone was just at home, like the visibility it was greatly increased because of the pollution. Mm-hmm. A great example too, I went to Japan in 2017 and 2019. Mm-hmm. And for such a densely populated city and with so much going around, it is so clean. They don't have a lot of cars just driving around. It's a lot of public transit. It's a lot of trains. Really, really simple. Honestly, it's beautiful too. Like the way that it's all it's so seamless, and they're very organized and precise. And like I was saying, like for such a densely populated area, it's so clean. It's probably one of the cleanest big cities in the world, if not the cleanest.
So that's definitely a bucket list for me. I know you love it there.
Yeah, dude, I would move there in a heartbeat if I. Adams Polishes Japan. If you need some over there, hit me up.
By the way, I love their page, man. Like they post such cool stuff. They do really cool stuff over there. I mean, dude, man, all of our affiliates across the world are just killing it.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what this has become. Because Adam, I get customers weekly that come in here and was like, man, I used to buy this stuff from Adam back at the swap meet days, and he was handwriting on the bottles and all that stuff. Those guys still come, and look at what it's become. And, that store in Dubai that just opened up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Beautiful. Oh my God. Next level.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see what this has become and what it's grown to. But to get kind of back on topic, yes, smog is definitely down with the EVs, but everyone has that argument. Well, the amount of stuff it takes to build these batteries and all that, or these lithium fields and all that, is that more hazardous than what the carbon coming out of your exhaust pipe is?
Yeah.
Time will tell. We'll start to see whether or not the gasoline engine is the cleaner version, or if the flip side to those batteries is going to be what's going to be the problem for the electric stuff.
Yeah. Well, I also wonder too, like, being self-sufficient as well, where you don't need to go to a gas station, but also like to the point where it's like, you have enough solar power or solar panels and solar power through your home. Mm-hmm. Do you really even need to like pay for electricity? Imagine getting all your power from the sun. It goes straight into your car, and that's how it works, But yeah, I mean, listen, I guess I'm under the belief that like they wouldn't want to convert all new car sales to EV if there was
I
not a reason for it. It's like I don't think it's like some diabolical scheme. I think it's been proven that it's better for the environment, and there's a lot of strong opinions around EV, and I don't know. I mean, listen, it's gonna come no matter what. So it's like you either adapt or don't get in a car and stay at home and travel through the metaverse, I guess. It's like,
Ooh,
what do you go to car meets on in the metaverse? I don't know. It
yeah,
probably already happens, but like, I don't know. I guess it's such an interesting topic because it's all speculation, right? Like we could
right.
just sit here and talk about it all day, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm sort of excited for my kids and their kids and beyond, but interesting topic. So I mean, look, we talked about the evolution of you know the auto industry, and car care is a part of that. Like, you know, where have you seen car care progress? Obviously waxing cars, that was like
Hmm.
the thing, and it's progressed pretty quickly. And I'm even curious to see, like, in your opinion, where do you see it progressing even further?
Yeah, I think our biggest advancements are in the protection realm. We used to use wax, which was organic. It, comes from the earth, carnauba plants, and all that sort of stuff. So we, properly waxing was maybe a every other month job.
Yeah.
And then, these polymers came along, these sealants came along, and that stretched a couple. Now instead of waxing your car every other month, you're applying a sealant maybe twice a year or so,
Yeah.
or maybe every season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and then now we're in the realm of ceramics.
Yeah.
This car here hasn't been recoated for years, and it's still popping like crazy. Like
Hmm.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we're going to be in a realm where it's like, hey, you need a coating. This is a lifetime coating. You put
Yeah.
this on your car and it's good forever. You're
Yeah.
always going to have that layer of protection that's going to protect from fallout, dust, dirt, water, everything under the sun, UV, all of that stuff, and it's going to last longer than the car is.
Hmm.
Even if you look at our shampoos and all that stuff, man, we used to just wash with like a basic soap. Now it's pH neutral, it's loaded with protection, like it's got all this, all that, and everything has advanced.
Yeah.
Our wheel cleaners, all of that. We've come up with so many different chemicals to just make our lives easier. And tools, man. Like my
Yeah.
favorite tool is the air cannon, dude. That is
Yeah.
my
No.
best friend. I'll use it on a dry car just to blow some dust off of it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I wish I had that years ago,
Yeah.
when I was drying cars. And we've just made huge leaps and bounds.
Hmm.
And as time progresses and technology progresses, I'm waiting for Galahar to release. I joked with him the other day as a Galaharathene coating. Like his latest and greatest. Give it to me,
Hmm.
man. Quit
Yeah.
quit holding back. Show me what you got.
Yeah. Come on, Chris. What's the deal?
So that's going to be the next step. Is there's going to be some sort of chemical or compound molecular structure that's just going to be dropped into a coating, and it's going to be last forever. It's going to be on the car forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
It's crazy.
I mean, look at our what brake pads have turned into. We have carbon ceramic brake pads.
Hmm.
That GT4 that I drove, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man, if you opted for the carbon package, it's like $8,000 to replace your rotor. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's crazy, but they handle the heat, they handle the performance is there.
Hmm.
Our tires now, man, this car here has Toyo R888s, and
Hmm.
I will fly around corners and not even hear a peep out of them. Like they
Crazy.
want more.
Hmm.
And the scary thing too is how much horsepower these cars can make these days.
Hmm.
When I was in high school, if you made 300 horsepower, you were like the king of the streets. Like, yeah, I'll smoke. My buddy had an EG Civic, like an old school, like Civic hatchback,
Hmm.
and it had like a fully built Type R engine from Japan, and it was not that powerful, maybe made like 200, 250 horsepower.
Mhm.
But because it was so light, he can smoke any Dodge Hemi any day of the week.
Crazy.
And that was fast. That was like, holy moly. And
Yeah.
nowadays you can go buy a Hellcat with 800 horsepower. What? Like
So
that,
nuts.
you shouldn't be allowed to buy that unless you have a special license.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. And these kids nowadays, their mom and dad, if they can afford it, they'll buy them a Mustang. And that Mustang was a normal, a pretty average car for. It's a nice car. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's not like $100,000 car.
Mhm.
And it still has 500 horsepower. Like that's just ungodly.
Yeah.
And I would have put my kid in something like that. And my parents were smart. They bought me an S10 truck was my first car because they knew I was going to be out there racing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I drifted that thing right into a curb. And then I fixed it with my dad. And then he was like, there's nothing that's going to stop you.
Mhm.
So we fixed the S10, and he bought me a 240 SX as my car, and he took the S10 to daily drive it. And then it was game over from there. And and back then, dude, like the wheel options that we had, the brake options that we had, the tire options, suspension option, dude, all of that is obsolete. That's bad. Like you wouldn't run that these days. But that just goes to show how times progress, performance progress, all this stuff is just come such a long way.
Yeah. That's nuts, dude. Yeah. The pursuit of shine is so different now with car care, like we're talking about how it's progressed. And, I just want to touch on it for a second, but, like waxing cars was hiding scratches back then.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even fixing them really.
Yeah.
It's like putting lipstick on a pig kind of, and
Right.
And then like you're saying, like, they come out with the polymers. It's like a better mousetrap than wax. But then you have, random orbital polishers that mainly were used for sanding. And then they start jumping into, people are like, I'm going to use that on my car because it's actually better, and,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have, I think what happened too is that business people realize that car care is a great business to get into, like a consumable type of business and that kind of thing. So now you have like people investing into it. Now they're hiring chemists. Now they're engineering chemicals, Oh, you can add reduced graphene oxide to polysilazane and make the coating better.
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah, we should do that,
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm sort of interested to see where it goes. I have my own ideas on how you could progress car care as well. I think some sort of AI or automation, I think, can go into some of this stuff, to make, I think taking out variables that make car care difficult is sort of like how you can make it better, just like, so you don't have to think about it as much.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could, I don't want to say it because I am like pushing so hard for us to, to pursue this, take a pretty big investment, but like, if you could make polishing easier, imagine that. Like, then everybody would want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already kind of easy, but what speed do I put it? How hard do I push? How fast do I go? There's so many variables at which like you do it, and then you have clear coats that are hard, clear coats that are soft. You don't even have clear coats. There's like so many things in between. That's like, I don't know. Still takes some technique. Maybe you're not going to cause as much damage as using like a rotary buffer and things like that. But I think what's interesting to me is that as far as hardness of something on your car, I think is like almost maxed out. I mean, if you're talking 9H, a diamond is 10H. So I don't think you could go past that. Right. But like what I see changing is the characteristics of how things react on your car. Like right now we have water beading, right? They're going to alter that to make it easier on your car, or like, can you make the surface more slick or this and that, self-healing type of stuff, I don't know. That's like, maybe
I think that's going to be a big one.
Yeah. Maybe polishing's obsolete in 10 years, you don't even have to polish your car. You put heat lamps when you drive into your garage, and every time you come back from work, or your car drove you back from work and you pull into the garage, it's just like comes back to looking perfect again. I don't know. I mean, I think there's, again, talking about the future is all speculation. And I think it's honestly, it's just a fun conversation to have because it's, you can get as creative as you want in your mind, you know? So,
well, you mentioned the AI aspect of it. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the new technology with these like 3D scan tools where guys are literally scanning an entire car to develop like a new body kit now.
yeah.
You used to have to mold all of this stuff like on the car. Now they can do it all digitally.
Yeah.
So they throw like this paint almost on the car so that the sensor can pick it up. It scans the entire vehicle. Now they can digitize it, and now they can create, oh, I want to put like a little fender flare here. I want to add a little lip on the bumper here. And it's all already in spec of like the real vehicle, and they can just 3D print it, mold it, and they're done. So and how do you put that into car care? Well, 3D scan the car. Now you can paint measure the entire car.
Yeah.
And now your robot can just go polish the entire vehicle. Like it's on an arm, it's just doing all the work for you. It knows all the soft spots, it knows all the sensitive spots, and it knows like, oh, less pressure, more pressure, whatever it be. And it's going to take everything down perfectly. You're going to get an even cut around the entire vehicle. No spot is going to be deeper than the other.
And it's doing that all the while you're at a car meet in the metaverse.
Exactly, dude.
Well, dude, I honestly, this was like really fun talking to you about this stuff. And look, we got to get together again, talk about some more stuff. But I think doing this Shot Talk podcast, Sounds Polishes, is just, I don't know. I just like having conversations about the industry. We're a part of the car care industry, and not car care industry. We're part of the automotive industry, and listen, car care is not biased to any make, model, VIN number. It does. Car care is for everybody, so I just like being able to be a part of it and being a part of car culture and the automotive industry in kind of our own way, so thank you for joining me on this conversation. And
yeah, man, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. This is really cool. I enjoy this. This is not only my job but my passion, so we can do this for hours, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, we'll sign off. Listen, if you guys are watching and you want to see more of the podcast, or just, I don't know, connect with us on YouTube, connect with us on all the social media platforms, subscribe, like, all the stuff. I got to say it, but definitely show some support to Anthony and the crew out there in Anaheim. You guys kill it out there, Kevin, everyone that works there. You guys are such great people. And I'm glad to be able to know you, call you a friend, and hang out and do stuff like this.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Till next time.
Yep.